to Chris Vanderveen, 9 News in Colorado. This is John Weaver of Rosamond, California. Responding to the article that you wrote, and not to mention, yeah, that's your staff online. I'm checking your website. Regarding how UCI, or actually, is it Healthcare Advantage? Wow. Okay. Actually, UC Health. Okay. I thought UC Health was an insurance company. I used to work for the Blues out here in California a couple of 2 decades and a half ago. And if I'm not mistaken, out here in California, I know the Blues are separated by state law. But they also handled, at least one of them handled nonprofit until they switched to profit and became WellPoint and swallowing up every other Blues company out there until Manson bought them out. Swallowed them out and got rid of people. Yeah. But during that time, I had worked in the call center dealing with the provider calls regarding eligibility and claim statuses. Dealt with the HMOs, and then they moved me up to PPOs, and that was the most complicated, convoluted animal I've ever had the displeasure of working with. I had seen how more of the policies had added more issues with the clients, the clientele's. Individual policies would have certain um, they would have certain things added to their group, actually to their individual policy to make sure they're going to be more responsible half the time anyway. I mean, they had a lifetime max on it. I mean, maybe about $1 million if they were lucky enough. They also had a deductible on it that had to meet. Then after that, it was percentages regarding facility and professional. And this was about 25 years ago. I don't know what the policies are like right now. I can tell you what it was like a couple of decades ago when I worked for the Blues during that time. Um, 1 second, I'll put you on pause real fast. Now, if I'm not mistaken, the article is concerning about the university health system, or is it just concerning about the University of Colorado Hospital? It also depends upon the insurance policies that the people would have. Now, for the ones you were telling me, and forgive me for being out of place on this one here because of the difference of what happened here in California versus Colorado. But I thought the policy would be similar. If they actually had an HMO policy, if it was out here in Colorado, actually in California, not in Colorado, depending upon the group that they get or the individual policy, they would be responsible for the bill. On an individual policy, back then it was a 2080. So before, they would have a deductible to meet. And most of the deductibles I'd seen were $1,500 per year. And that would cover both professional and facility charges. But they would also have a lifetime max to pay. I mean, pay up to, and after that, they would have to get themselves a new policy. But they would have a 2080. And that's the individual. Small employer groups were a little bit different. Some of them actually did have deductibles on it. And they also had percentages, but not badly. When it came down for facility charges, it would have been the health plan to process and pay depending upon how the group was being managed. And if they had any problems with it, network specialists would have to talk to them and contract managers, and it became a nightmare in that one there. Can't tell you how many times the claims had to keep going back and forth because there were pending medical records or something else that somebody else lost somehow in the system. Large groups would be a standard HMO. There would be copays. There would not be that much of deductibles. Some groups would have it. Some groups would have it. But other times, there would be the better policies to have if you were a part of a large employer group. If they were HMO, and also depending on the medical group out here. Now, if we're talking about California situation over here, I know you're Colorado, and I'm in California, but I don't know if it's going to be similar to yours or not. But let me try anyway. Where was I at? I was trying to. Give me one moment, please. Personal life sometimes interferes with video, so sorry about that one. If you happen to hear any whining, that's my dog wanting my attention all the time. Medical groups that we actually had back then, most of them would not have been able to deal with facility charges unless they were fully capitated, meaning they were getting enough funding over there to pay for both professional and facility charges, including a hospital system. But we didn't have the hospital systems back then like they've got right now. But we had medical groups that would handle some stuff like that. There was a group called FACI at one time. I think it's still in operation. I don't know about the capitation or not. But they would get sufficient funding to do authorizations. They had their own utilization management for their members. They would pay for both professional and facility because they were getting money out of it. And there was a few other groups I can't think of off the top of my head, but they were out there. As I said before, back in then. So I don't know what it is like right now. I haven't been in the companies in a hell of a long while, so they could have changed policies and practices at this point. And there goes my dog again. Sorry about that, sir. So depending upon the policy that the people that you interviewed, if they actually had paid the hospital bill, in my own personal opinion, I ain't a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer, but it still sounds like a scam and a grift. If the hospitals could actually prove the hospital records that they hadn't paid, this would have been a legal lawsuit, and they don't want to deal with it. They just want to do the harassment. So it's a grift. It's a grift. If they can prove it in court that the people hadn't paid, but the people have showed that they already had paid, then they're in for it. They're just basically doing the fear grab, like everybody else these days. There's certain politicians and certain Pandora boxes we shall not open up just yet, shall we? But that's my take on it. I mean, out here in California, we have certain groups out there. We got Kaiser Foundation. Surely they got a Kaiser Foundation out there. Out here, we're already having our own issues concerning about if the facilities are going to be up to speed or not. And we've got issues out here in the Antelope Valley that are already having people complaining about them for decades, or actually for the last decade. They're trying, they're struggling, and some of the groups we have out here, not exactly the best groups we have out here either. The Blues don't have as much pull as they used to before they got bought out by Anthem. And I'm with Kaiser because I like them. I haven't had any issues concerning about the bills yet. But I managed to work with these guys concerning about billing issues and understanding it. The thing is, I would do as a member is look over the bills carefully. 1 second, please. I would look over the explanation of benefits and the coordination of benefits and the members' material that they would have of what their coverage is supposed to be. And then I'd harangue the member services of my insurance company of what my responsibility is, and if it is the medical group, if it is the health plan's responsibility, then I would have to write letters to them complaining about it. I mean, there's only so much phone calls, but letters also go a long way as well with it. If they have HMOs, it's the health plan's responsibility, in my opinion. But they could have changed these contracts a great deal over the past 25 years. So. But this is my observations about it. I thank you for your time, sir. You trying to have a go with it. I'm going to stay on top of this story.